Hi, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we're just gonna talk really quickly about the differences between competition style kettlebells, soft style kettlebells, and hard style kettlebells. There are two types of kettlebells that are out on the market right now. You have competition style bells and you have hard style bells. So hard style bells are the ones that we got in America first from RKC Dragon Door, and they were the first kettlebells that everybody had access to, so they became kind of the standard, and you see that standard carried forward through most gyms now to this day. CrossFit uses hard style bells for the most part because they got that from Pavel. Competition style bells are ones that are used specifically for competition. So all the competition bells have the same dimensions everywhere in the world, or they're supposed to. Competition bells have the same size and geometry no matter what the weight. Hard style bells get bigger and smaller depending on the weight. So competition bells are always this size, this shape with this handle geometry. And this is a 16K, yellow is always 16K. And the way that they make these is they have a mold, but they're hollow in the middle, so the void gets bigger and smaller depending on how heavy they want the weight to be. This is a 24K soft style bell, competition style bells, and it is heavier, but it has the exact same geometry. Yeah. This one is an 88-pound kettlebell, 40K kettlebell, same thing, exact same dimensions. Competition style bells always have the exact same geometry so that they can be sure that people don't have any advantage based on geometry. Just like in all sports, they standardize the equipment to the sizes and the heights of things to make sure that that isn't a variable in the competition itself. This is a hard style bell, and this is a competition soft style bell. And what you can tell is they are different shapes. Hard style bells also tend to have thicker handles, bigger handle geometry. The bigger around the handle is, the harder it is to hold on to, the greater the grip challenge. Competition style bells all have the same geometry, and I'm not sure why hard style ended up with this specific size and soft style ended up with this specific size. You need some type of kettlebell historian for that. We just know that they're different. Hard style bells tend to have thicker handles, and that carries through even into the CrossFit bells that you see, the bells from Rogue and from other companies. What bells you want depends on what you want to do with them for the most part. So I mostly use competition style bells now because I don't do a ton of like hand-to-hand Jeff Martone style kettlebell juggling. If you were going to do like Jeff Martone style juggling, you're probably going to be doing it with these hard style bells just for the sheer fact that they are easier to get your hand around and they're easier to catch than these big ones. People do use these bigger bells for juggling stuff, but for the most part, that's just not how we do it in America. I know that a lot of the Russians still practice kettlebell juggling with the bigger bells no matter what, but most Americans, for more of a one kettlebell option, tend to choose hard style bells. It really doesn't matter which one you choose. For the most part, I tend to tell women to get hard style bells because they are smaller and they tend to fit their hands better as the weight goes down. If you're more interested in competition style lifting, obviously you have to have the competition style bells. They set in a very specific way on the arm. All that stuff matters. Competition style bells are almost always good bells. I've never seen a bad competition style bell. Bad being defined as having a poor or improper distance between the bell and the handle itself. But you do see hard style bells that really suck. And they usually come from places like Target or Walmart. I don't know if they've gotten better, but when kettlebells first got popular, a lot of companies started trying to make kettlebells without actually understanding what the bells were supposed to do and why they were being used the way that they were being used. And a lot of them had an improper distance between the handle and the bell itself. And all of those were hard style bells. So I've never seen a bad soft style bell or competition bell, but I have seen a lot of completely useless hard style kettlebells, not the RKC ones. The Rogue ones are all good, but you can occasionally find those bad ones and they come from, Big Five and various other places. And this distance is not correct, which causes the bell, instead of resting below your joint, to rest directly on your joint, even with a correct grip. So even with your correct grip, it would be, so this bell works, it's very good. It's right below the level of my joint in my wrist. If it was bad, it would rest directly on top of that joint, and it would be very, very, very uncomfortable to use. That one misses, right? That one, pretty close. So this is a pretty small bell for me to use, but I don't really use 8K for anything. So when we make kettlebell recommendations, we recommend them based on that handle geometry and based on this distance here. And I don't know if there's a precise mathematical ratio that makes it work. I always just do it by feel. You can usually tell the second you pick a kettlebell up whether or not it's gonna be good or it's gonna be bad. If it's resting on that joint, then you're doing it wrong. Or maybe your grip is wrong. But if your grip is correct and you're holding the corners of the bell, the corner of the bell is where it goes directly into the web of the hand. If it has that 45-degree angle and it's still resting directly on that joint, then it's a bad bell. Do not buy it. It's useless for everything except a doorstop. This has been Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica. A couple of thoughts on the differences between competition-style bells and hard-style bells. Competition bells are all the same size and geometry, regardless of weight. Competition or hard-style bells get bigger and smaller depending on how heavy they are, because they don't have a void in the middle. They are solid, cast one piece, which can make them, the big ones very big and the little ones very little. Competition bells are always the same size no matter what the weight.